Today, I want to tell you about something that is incredibly special to me. It is the only music I really listen to right now, and that is Epic the Musical. This musical has taken my life by absolute storm, and honestly, I could get rid of all music platforms if I just had this one album. For the time being, of course, but this has quickly become my favorite musical right now of 2024, bar none. There is not even a video, as far as I know, for this. There's some music videos, but there is definitely no movie for this. There needs to be, once all the parts are out. It seems like the musical is about halfway out at this point, and we're getting so serious that I'm rolling up my sleeves right now. Rolling up my sleeves. Because when I first found this, it was by complete accident. I just stumbled upon it in Spotify musical playlist. If you didn't know, I'm big into musicals. I love movie versions. Sorry, Broadway fans. But this musical in particular is by either George Rivera Herranz or Jorge Rivera Herranz. Somewhere in there is the right pronunciation. I feel bad I don't know how to say it, but the dude is a freaking genius. He has taken a timeless classic of the Odyssey, written by Homer in ancient times, and created this new life for it, this modern telling. This is truly a work of art in its own right. We start with the horse and the infant in the very first saga. The horse and the infant, just a man, full speed ahead, open arms, and warrior of the mind, were all part of the first saga of the Odyssey. And I just re-listened to it as I was doing some stuff to a previous video, and it is just as good as the first time I listened to it. I am absolutely addicted to this musical like it is a freaking drug. I mean, look at my eyes. No, but it is fantastic, and part one is amazing. It tells the story of Odysseus on his travels back to Ithaca. And these first five songs basically show us a little bit of Odysseus, a little bit of Eurylochus, a little bit of the just entire crew. It is absolutely nuts how much it actually shows. Polites is high key one of my favorite characters, or that's not the perfect thing, seeing as what happens. And we will talk about that later if you do not know what happens. If you have not listened to this, I suggest you go listen to it immediately, though. The first five parts have to deal with meeting all the characters, landing, and gearing up for part two, which is Polyphemus. Or Polyphemus, not Polyphemus. That is my bad, you probably didn't even realize, but hey, I got your back. And Polyphemus is where things really get crazy. Now, the first part is all kind of like, oh no, I don't want to do this to bang. You have to do this. You have to address this. There is a giant cyclops who is literally mercenarying your entire, group. What are you going to do about it? And there wasn't much they could do about it. Luckily, as we learned in the first saga, Odysseus is incredibly smart, and he works hand in hand with Athena up until the end of the Polyphemus, the Cyclops saga. And he hatches a plan. He puts a lotus in Polyphemus's wine, and Polyphemus conks out like Buddy's gone. He's absolutely blasted. And when he wakes up, he's to a spear in his eye, not the best way to wake up. If you've ever had someone shove a toothpick in your eye when you're sleeping, that's about what he was feeling at that moment. Doesn't sound very pleasant to me. I don't know about you. We've got the songs Polyphemus, Survive, Remember Them, and finally My Goodbye, which is where Odysseus and Athena split apart. The two seemed like just conjoined. And it even says in the song that Odysseus has had Athena basically in his mind for what feels like the longest time. And it was really nice to, in this part, just to see the two of them interact. It was like a continuation of Warrior of the Mind, which is basically what showed you their initial meeting way back when. It's almost like they went back in time. I believe I've only listened to the musical, I've not read the Odyssey. So thank you, base level English in high school. But yeah, it is amazing up to that point. And then he drops part three, the Poseidon saga or the Ocean saga, releasing Storm, Luck Runs Out, Keep Your Friends Close, Your Ruthlessness. And before I keep going, actually, in the song Survive, Polites is gone. Polites is murked. Polites was killed right in front of Odysseus. And it was absolutely heart wrenching to see that, to feel that, to hear that. Because this is so well done that you can just use your imagination and experience this however you want. That's the good thing about there not being a movie. It's kind of like a book in a way. You get to choose how you see things. Now, this and the Cyclops saga took a while actually for me to like get into it because I was like, oh man, the first one's so perfect. Then Polyphemus, I had to take some time, and I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. This is also like that same level. Then the Ocean saga came out, and I'm like, wow, this is different. But as I listen and listen and listen, I was like, oh yeah, this is S tier right here. And there's Storm, Luck Runs Out, Keep Your Friends Close, Ruthlessness, which is by far my favorite song of the group. However, Keep Your Friends Close is pretty fun. If you like to do some of the voices from the songs, there's a couple in there that are just fun to do. And we're seeing this rift kind of form between Odysseus and almost his crew, but definitely you can see the rift between Odysseus and Eurylochus really starting to crack. And that will continue to crack as the story goes on. But quickly moving on to the Circe saga. This is by far one of my favorite parts of this. Circe is such a fun character, but not only Circe in this part, we have Puppeteer, Wouldn't You Like, Done For, and There Are Other Ways. Now, Wouldn't You Like is a song completely between Odysseus and Hermes. And once again, if you like doing the voices with the characters and the musicals, that one is super fun. They're all super fun, especially if you like doing the voices of songs. That is one of my favorite things to do when singing. Does it make for good singing? I don't know, but it makes for a fun experience, which is what singing's all about. So, Puppeteer, we get a little brief insight of what Circe's is about. Turning Odysseus' men into pigs, and he basically has to talk her out of it after he talks to Hermes and gets the holy moly plant that basically stops any of Circe's spells from messing with Odysseus. That is in itself crazy, but the songs Done For and There Are Other Ways lead right into each other. They are the exchange between Odysseus and Circe, and the two do grow in very different ways. Circe grows to trust a little more, and Odysseus really learns to trust even less. That is a common theme in the entire musical, is Odysseus' trust goes down ever so slightly until the next part, which is the Underworld saga. The Underworld saga came out and I was flabbergasted. I heard the first song and I cried. Like it is such an emotional song, and basically it's Odysseus and the remaining men he has because Poseidon knocked out all but 43 men. I don't know if that's including him or not, because there is a line in that song where it's like 43 left under your command. But he has to like go face all of the men. He did not lose a single person in war. But his journey back, his odyssey, if you will, is where he lost everything. And he's got to face that in the underworld. He loses his mentor, his best friend, and as the underworld shows, he lost his mother back in Ithaca. She passed away, I believe, due to illness or age. He's been gone for so long, and it's really hitting him right towards the end of the song. Uh, Jorge Rivera Herranz, we're going to go with that from now on, is just a fantastic singer. He really portrays the emotion of this song very, very well in this part. Then there's No Longer You, which is all about Odysseus meeting the prophet that he was sent to meet. Circe sent him to the underworld to meet this prophet, and this prophet basically said, "You're not that guy anymore. You are no longer the one to make it home." Which leads us into one of the most consequential songs, it seems like, of the entire musical almost, which is Monster, which is where he gives in. He gives in. He gives in to all. He's been fighting and fighting and fighting all this negativity and basically turning into a monster and doing what he has to survive, for his men to survive. He's been trying to show mercy. He's been trying to show grace, kindness to enemies. And he finally realizes, maybe I can't show grace and mercy and kindness to our enemies. Maybe I should only focus on my men and getting us home to Penelope and Telemachus. Both huge driving factors in everything he does. And Monster shows his descent and it shows him give in to the madness that is the world. It shows this once great leader just to lose all trust and faith in everything humanity centered. And that brings us into Suffering, or I believe this is the Thunder Saga. The Thunder Saga. Thunder Saga. Which just recently came out. And so I'm going to actually have some of the lyrics up on my screen here. It is so mind-blowing going from Monster to the very first song in Suffering. Because in my head, I'm like, how did he already make it home? Because he's like supposed to be talking to Penelope, right? But there's no way that there was a jump from the underworld all the way to Ithaca. And it turns out that, Penelope is trying to get Odysseus to jump in the water, to come in the water with her. And, it's setting off red flags all in my head when I'm listening to it. I'm like, what? How? What? What? Why did they go out to the sea? Like, they skipped from the underworld? And then I'm like, oh, I think I know. And it was the one pretending to be Penelope was a siren. I know, it was shocking to me too. Which leads us into Different Beast, which is just Monster in full effect at this point. He has this crazy, crazy, crazy line. Let me read some of this to you. "Let's cut the charade, you are no wife of mine. You've been trying to take my life this whole time. I know underwater there are packs of you hiding. Yeah, I know exactly what you are, a siren." And then skipping ahead a little bit, we've got this crazy, crazy line that I'm looking for here. And it is basically he realizes that the sirens have done all of this. And this is what he says. The sirens say, "Spare us. Oh, please spare us." Or, "Oh, spare us, please." And Odysseus straight up does some G stuff right here. And he goes, "Why? So you can kill the next group of sailors in this part of the sea? Nah, you wouldn't have spared me. I made this a mistake like this. It almost cost my life. I can't take more risk of not seeing my wife. Cut off their tails. We're ending this now. Throw their bodies back in the water. Let them drown." That is the song Monster from the Underworld saga going into full effect. We get a clear view of what Odysseus is about now. He is getting home no matter the cost. And that leads us into Scylla, which is where the sirens said he could sail through to avoid Poseidon, who is still tracking him. And we get a little bit of back and forth between Odysseus and Scylla, eventually leading to Odysseus sacrificing 6 men because he knows that Scylla has a price to pay for going through her lair. And I know that's a brief of the song, but it leads into mutiny, which is where Eurylochus commits a mutiny against Odysseus. And honestly, when I heard this, it was once again just my mind was blown. I was like, I've seen these two. These are like brothers. These two are connected so deeply. And Eurylochus is going to turn his back on him? Like, it can't just be because, 6 men. And Odysseus even says, "Don't make me fight you, brother. You know you'd have done the same." And Eurylochus strikes back with, "If you want all the power, you must carry all the blame." And that's when Eurylochus lands a blow, and Odysseus is basically knocked out, waking up in the home of the sun god, on the sun god's island with the sun god's cows, which are immortal. But Eurylochus doesn't know that. So, out of such heavy hunger, and he says that, and hunger is so heavy, he strikes, he tries to just end one of these cows right in front of Odysseus. Odysseus knows, he uses his mind to think these things through, and Eurylochus is just using his feeling of hunger to lead him to do this to one of the cows. Eurylochus, starting from here, "I'm starving, my friend," Odysseus says, "but if you kill his cattle, who knows what he'll send. This is the home of the sun god." Eurylochus then says, "I'm tired, my friend." Odysseus says, "But we're so close to home, this can't be where it ends." We get more back and forth, and eventually Eurylochus does it. And Odysseus says this, "You've doomed us. You've doomed us all, Eurylochus." And it seems like Eurylochus is really scared. Odysseus tries to take back the reins. "We need to get away from this island now. Grab an oar with all your strength your arms allow. These cows were immortal. They were the sun god's friends. And now that we've pissed them off, who do you think he'll send?" And then we hear thunder, bringing us to Thunderbringer, which is Zeus. And just a quick shout out to everybody that was a part of this ensemble, of this entire cast, to George or Jorge. Like, this is a masterpiece. Like, I am witnessing this real time. This is something that in musicals, like, I will be surprised if it doesn't get picked up dang near immediately once it's completely out. So let's take some time in Thunderbringer because there is a lot to unpack here. And we're taking a little more time in this 6th saga, I believe, because the Thunder saga just came out. I'm not as certain about all of the songs, so I'm reading them a little bit, but also relaying some of the things that I think are important and some of the things that I just believe that aren't something you might not pick up. So we've got Zeus here. Pride is a damsel in distress, hiding away where only I can undress her. Try all she can not to confess. In the end, it's all the same once I apply all the pressure. He says he has the chorus a little bit, and then tell me, Odysseus, if I were to make you choose the lives of your men and crew or your own, why do I think they'd lose? This is all because Eurylochus killed that cow. And Zeus makes Odysseus choose himself or his remaining men, which, if memory serves correctly, is still right around the 40 mark. It's not quite up there, it's in mid to high 30s, but if he chooses himself, he's sending 36, 35 people to the underworld where he just saw hundreds and hundreds of his men. Odysseus tries to plead with him. He says, please don't make me do this, reckoning back to his previous, when in The Horse and the Infant, he did not want to do what he had to do to the infant. And that is where everything started. So seeing a line like that there is huge. Eurylochus looks at Odysseus and asks, Captain? Odysseus says, I have to see her. Eurylochus barks back, but we'll die. Odysseus says, I know. And we get some chorus here. Let me just read the chorus here. Thunder, thunder, bring her through the ringer. Show her I'm the judgment call, the one who makes her kingdom fall. Lightning wield her, use and yield her. Show her what she can't conceal, for true nature will be revealed. Got into the rhythm a little bit there, but there is going to be 40 songs, and I have memorized all the way up to the Thunder Saga, and I just did the math, and it's like 100 pages that I've memorized of music just from this one artist recently. It is so good. I definitely recommend it. I think, like I said, this might actually be like the true modern day retelling of the Odyssey. I think this is what could make it really, really big for a lot of people. A lot of people like theater, a lot of people like musicals. It's a musical now. If it goes to theaters, I genuinely believe I would go to see this. Like, if this came to where I lived, I wouldn't even think twice, wouldn't even look at the price. Didn't mean to rhyme right there, but wasn't it nice? Now it's got me in a rhythm for real. There's 15 more songs left to release. He's been releasing them roughly every 2 or 3 months, I believe. I think it's 3 just times passing by so quickly. It takes a while to learn the songs for myself. But yeah, that is just why I love this musical. That is why this, in my opinion, is the best musical of 2024. I know Wicked is coming out later in the year, but honestly, I might end up loving this more than Wicked. And that's saying a lot because I saw it in the theater, not in theaters, but in the theater, like live performance, and it was just amazing. Wicked had like goosebumps moments, which I've never like went to a theater and had goosebumps like that. But hitting those high notes will do that to you. So I'm excited for that, but I'm so excited for more and more of Epic the Musical. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button because it means so much more than you realize and so much more than even I realized. Like, I wouldn't have guessed how much it matters, but hit the subscribe button. And I just want to thank you for indulging my little ramble here about Epic the Musical. I will see you in the next video.